Okay, before we start these runs as requested, I brought along a witness who's going to certify my results and experiences. His name is Dante, and he's gonna be my witness for these experiences today. Okay, we're making our approach to the first K-band sign. I'd like to point out that I would like you to take these with a grain of salt. As I said, take all of them with a grain of salt. Because what we're doing here is we're making these individual approaches to these stationary sources. However, the radar detectors are seeing two or three, they're going to be looking at distinct snapshots in time. The traffic's different, the circumstances are different, so they may react differently as a result of that. So please take that into consideration when you're looking at these videos. Okay, we're going to move on to the 34/7 stationary sources that lie ahead. We're approaching the first of two 34/7 stationary constant on KA sources. We're driving here with the stationary, a solo STI driver. No other detectors are running, including the 3600 remote. We'll see how they do. Okay, we should be approaching the second one. Approach speed is about the same, about indicated as 70, 72. Okay, we've passed the source. There you have it. Okay, per a request to rerun and make my approach to these stationary K and KA sources, I am running with a red line by itself. And you can see how it's alerting. I tried to place this detector in the same location as it was when they were running together and with the Pro 3600 as well. About 300 feet away from the source, it's facing us. Now passing the source. Okay, and now we're going to proceed to the two 34/7 stationary constant on sources that are facing us up ahead here. Okay, we're making our approach to the stationary 34/7 first one facing us. I do want to point out that I'm a little uncomfortable in this respect of trying to make a direct comparison between my experiences of before, just simply on the fact that the conditions are uniquely different. As you can see, I think the traffic's a little bit less today, and you know, these detectors, as I run them individually, are going to see different dynamics, and so, you know, that control is no longer there, and so I would take some of these with a grain of salt. Perhaps take them all with a grain of salt, but keep in mind the context of this is that on each of these individual runs, every circumstance is going to be different. With that said, we're going to proceed to the next sign, which is up here shortly. Again, we're running with the red line about in the same location as I had it, and no other detectors are on in the car, including the Pro 3600. And here is our second alert. Our approach speed is about 70. At least indicated. Past the source. There you have it. We'll spin around here and make the same approach with the STI driver in its own by itself here. Okay, we're going to make an approach to the same sources. The first one is a fixed constant on KA. I'm sorry, this is K-band. Approach speed is about 70 again. Traffic's a little different. So please take each one of these encounters with a grain of salt, as these are detectors are each looking at a different environment with each pass. We're going to move on to the next two sources, which are KA, and we'll come right back to you. Okay, we're approaching the first of two 34/7 KA constant on stationary sources with the Valentine. I happen to grab one of the four that I own, and the version of this model happens to be 3861 for those interested. I have to admit, driving with the STIR and STIR Plus, you know, you don't need the arrows. given the increased sensitivity. But I'll tell you, when I'm driving with this Valentine, I'll tell you, I love the silky smooth. I miss the silky smooth ramp ups as well as the arrows. They're just an ingenious feature, and certainly one of the reasons why this detector has stood the test of time. Okay, there you have it. Okay, I've thrown in a Whistler XTR 695. This is a retail unit. Get that configured. Okay. See, the sensitivity on K-band isn't as strong as the other detectors. In fact, it doesn't seem to be alerting at all, which suggests to me that there's an issue with this model. Oops. Guys, I got to tell you a funny story. Running with a retail version of the Whistler XTR 695, which predated the KA Max mode, which added some sensitivity. And the first run I made, I didn't get any alert anywhere near where the other Whistlers were, and I was getting worried, and then I ended up passing the source and never got an alert, and then I thought I had a defective or a unit that failed. I double checked the settings and realized all my bands were defeated, so I had to re-enable them, and now we're going to make another run. Looks like a pretty respectable performance. Again, this is a retail version of an older Whistler XTR 695. Approach speed is about 70 again. I'm going to move on now to the two KA sources up ahead. Okay, we're making our approach to the first of two 34/7 constant on facing KA stationary sources. We're driving with a retail version of an XTR 695, which again predates the SC platform and therefore does not have the KA Max mode. Let's see if that's visible. Again, our approach speed is about 70 indicated. Okay, we should be getting an alert, I would expect, pretty soon. Now, we have a couple big trucks here in front of us that may impact the line of sight a little bit. We're beyond it now. You can see the source. Again, please take these videos with a grain of salt, as the traffic patterns are different on every run, and therefore the detectors aren't seeing a consistent or identical view of the radar on each of these runs. Okay, we're going to move on. Okay, I'm going to power up the 3600. We're going to make a run at these three sources, and the only detector that'll be running is the Pro 3600 mounted as a remote in my my wife's vehicle.
Hello, fasten seatbelt. System active, north.
Okay, here we go. Okay, we're going to make our approach to the first K sign here that's facing us. We're driving with the Whistler Pro 3600.
K-band.
Now, I haven't reviewed or thought about exactly where these things have been alerting, but it feels to me that at least the Whistlers have been alerting about in the same place. Past the source. Now we're going to continue on to the 34.7 sources. Okay, we're approaching the first of two 34.7 signs. A fair amount of traffic here, and we're driving with the Whistler Pro 3600 by itself. Approach speed is at the moment about 67.
34.7.
Okay, I expect we should be getting an alert here fairly soon.
$34.7.
Approach speed's a little bit slower because of different traffic here, so keep that in mind. The speed at the moment's about 63. Not much I can do about that. But there you have it, the Whistler Pro 3600 by itself. I'm doing this as a special request. Somebody wanted to see the relative performance of both M3s, one mounted extremely low behind the windshield and very high up. And what we have is the Escort Redline at this time, very high mounted. And then we have the STI Driver, very low mounted and partially obscured by the wiper blades, which is what was requested. We're going to make an approach, as we have been, to these sources. The first one being K, and you can see we're getting the red line is decimating K response with a very early response high up. And I'm not in the actual lane. Now the STI Driver is alerting. Redline is absolutely dominating on the K-band alert. It was quite a bit earlier around the curve than I recall any of these other detectors alerting. Approach speed is about 70. And there you have it. We'll continue on. Okay, we're approaching, or we're going to be approaching the first of two 34/7 facing stationary constant on sources. Have the escort Redline mounted quite high, and we're definitely handicapping the STI driver by having it mounted very low here, and somewhat being blocked by my windshield wiper. This was a request, and we'll run this again with the two detectors reversed. Okay, the red line is alerting. The driver has yet to alert. There goes the driver. Should be coming to the next alert here pretty soon. Approach speed is about the same at 70, 71. Okay, again the red line alerts. Now the STI driver. And there you go, passing the source. See the difference in the trailing alerts a little bit between the driver, I think, and the escort Redline. We're going to spin this around one more time and do the reverse as requested. We're going to put the Redline low behind the windshield wipers, potentially handicapping that detector now, and we're going to put the driver very high up and see what impact this has. We'll see you shortly. Okay, we're going to make our approach this time with the two detectors reversed. The STI driver is up here, and the red line is now hampered by the windshield. Now I'm going to see if I can get out here. The last time there were cars that were preventing me from getting in the left lane promptly, and the red line had already started alerting before I was able to get over. So I'm going to try to do that now. See what impact mounting high versus extremely low and handicapped. Interesting, the driver nipped the red line this time, so you can see the obviously the difference in alerting nature. The two detectors alerted the driver alerting first, although the margin was clearly not as much, although again the circumstances are not identical. from the last run because of the changing traffic patterns. So they weren't looking at the same exact thing at the same exact moment. So we're going to move up to the 234.7s and see how these two detectors do. Okay, we're going to be eventually coming to our first of two 34.7 stationary sources. And you know, I tend to be reluctant in making conclusions from one run, but it does appear that high mounting in general, or higher mounting does in general appear to improve reception performance, as evidenced by that last run. And that sort of makes sense because being so high mounted, I think it gives the detector a better chance of having line of sight here in areas where a lot of traffic's ahead, or when you're going over a hill or a crest of some sort. Seems like the red line alerted a little bit before, I mean fractionally before the driver. Approach speed is about the same. Thank you for that. Okay. Should be coming to the next source here. Ah, the driver wins this one. There's the red line. So obviously blocking the radar horn with metal in the form of windshield wipers and what appears to be a slightly tilted position downward as a result of mounting extremely low as requested most certainly appears to have an impact on some alerting here margins. So there you go. I hope I was able to demonstrate what this particular individual asked for. And thank you. Here's a bonus for you attentive ones. This is a production STI driver that was gotten blind retail. I'm going to make a run here on these three sources again. Try to get over here, see how this one does relative to the other driver that I have. You can see it alerts initially at a signal strength of 2 and 3. Which suggests to me that this is another evidence of crossing into the beam dispersion pattern of the radar, as opposed to hitting it from the fringe, as is often the case when you're way out west on long straightaways, where you would expect to see the initial alert starting at level 1 as you get on the fringe here. The fact that this started with a 2 and 3 suggests the compression that takes place, or that can take place either with traffic or around multiple curves. Okay, we have our blind retail STI driver running by itself. We're going to be approaching the two 34/7 stationary sources of Ka. Okay, notice how we started with a level 4, which again suggests that we're crossing a threshold of radar dispersion, as opposed to catching it at the very fringe. It seems like the production retail unit that came later has a better ramp and maximum emergency compared to the other unit that I had, which was effectively a pre-production model. Okay, notice how we crested and we got an initial alert of Ka6 with a signal strength, again suggesting that we crossed a threshold. So I do believe that terrain and traffic conditions have a significant a significant impact on the alerting of detectors, and can often lead to compression and therefore masking the absolute sensitivity differences between one model or the other. Again, on straightaway, lightly traveled highways that are often found in the West, or on closed courses that are, basically straightaway, it suggests to me that the differences are going to be much more noticeable potentially with more sensitive detectors versus less sensitive detectors. So I hope you've enjoyed all of these videos, or these runs at request, and you guys take care. Okay, Dante, do you have anything to say? Any questions? Concerns? Okay. These results are validated and certified. Thank you, Dante, for participating.